Snickers introducing the new taste of Coca-Cola, the best Coca-Cola ever. That's all I'm going to say. In fact, that's all I have to say. No more words.
Remember that? When Coca-Cola introduced New Coke back in the mid-1980s, even though none of us wanted it, the company launched a massive ad campaign to promote the reformulation of its iconic beverage. But New Coke was a disaster with the consumers. One election watcher drawing comparisons between that and the president's efforts to settle on a re-election campaign theme now. The latest slogan is forward. So far, it apparently has not caught on like Hope and Change did back in 2008. And now there are suggestions that the Hope and Change mantra may have a comeback. Simon Rosenberg is the president and founder of NDN. Simon, I just read the prompters on these introductions. And now this week it is a left-leaning think tank, which that's how it was for weeks. And then last week it was center-left. Now it's back to left.
Keep moving left, Simon.
Is it us or is it you? I think it's us.
It's still me, Megan. It's still me. You still got me here.
How would you characterize your think tank?
Center-left is great.
I'm going with that. Okay.
Great.
By the way, Simon's also a former campaign advisor to President Bill Clinton. And Mark Thiessen is a fellow at the American Enterprise Institute and a former speechwriter for President George W. Bush. All right, guys, welcome back. So let me start with you on this, Mark, because you were a speechwriter for President Bush. So that's the guy who advises the president on language and messaging and so on. And we've done, this is our third segment talking about the president's attempt to find a campaign slogan that resonates. Does it matter? You know, does it? President Obama, President Clinton, Simon's guy had the economy stupid when he ran the first time. That was very effective. Barack Obama had Hope and Change in 2008. Do we care whether it's forward or something else in 2012?
Well, what matters is that it sets the tone of the campaign, what your theme is going to be. Hope and Change was uplifting and moving, and people really were moved by it. Obama has now tried several iterations. He's tried winning the future. He's tried We Can't Wait, and now apparently he's settled on Romney as a vampire as his strategy for re-election.
I hadn't heard that. It's catchy.
Well, I mean, that's what they say in that ad on the Bain Capitol attacks. They've decided that, look, Obama can't win a Hope and Change election right now because he'd love to be running a Morning in America campaign, but it's not Morning in America. 63% of the country thinks that we're headed in the wrong track. There was a Washington Post poll last week that twice as many people say things have gotten worse for them under Obama than they've gotten better. And so what he's done is he's basically chucking the Hope and Change and going for a relentlessly negative attack, attacking Mitt Romney's record at Bain Capital. And the problem with that is, for him, is that the one thing Obama still has going for him is that even though people think he's a failing president, they still like him personally. They'd like to see him succeed. And with these negative attacks, he's undermining the one thing that he still has going for him, which is his likability.
You know, Simon, he's in a tough position because he has, stopped the bleeding to some extent that this country was feeling economically, but that doesn't translate into a, stop the we stop the bleeding. Cannot be your campaign slogan. You know, we stemmed the tide. That can't be, doesn't go well on a bumper sticker. But apparently they're not that happy.
It could have been worse. It could have been worse.
Yeah, it could have been worse. And they're not that happy with forward because there's an article out today that says, as for forward, one senior Democratic Party official tells The Hill, stay tuned. That may not be it after all.
I think that the president right now in this election, first of all, he's winning the election. The election were held today, he would win. So they're not in a place where they're desperate or concerned, or I don't think the American people see him as a failed president. If they did, he wouldn't be doing so well in the polls. And I think that he's positioning this election as a choice election. His vision for where he wants to take the country versus Mitt Romney's. I think they're very comfortable.
Forward or backward is what he's going for with the current.
Yeah, and he's saying that, look, we're pursuing forward-looking policies that are going to make us stronger in the 21st century. Mitt Romney is pursuing policies that we tried in the last decade and made us less safe and less prosperous and left the country much weaker. I think they're comfortable with that setup right now, and I think that's where the race is today. But, to paraphrase Mark here, I mean, we're in the middle stages of this election. Things could evolve, but I think that right now they feel forward and backward is a very strong positioning for this campaign.
I don't know if they do, if this one Democratic Party official is right. Stay tuned. They've tried a lot, Mark, as you point out. They've tried an economy built to last, a fair shot, greater together, winning the future, we can't wait. fairness, we don't quit, and now forward. Apparently, behind the scenes at rallies and so on, they are using a different theme that some believe should become the campaign theme, and it may be very familiar to some of our viewers who are fans, like yours truly is, of the wonderful TV series Friday Night Lights. Watch this.
It's already done, baby. It's already done, baby. It's already done.
Oh, good old Coach T. Clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose. Is that a winner?
Well, if he loses, it'll be pretty embarrassing.
You have a point.
You brought up that. Simon says that they're not panicking. I mean, you brought up the New Coke example at the start of this segment. I mean, New Coke was launched, if you'll recall, because Coca-Cola panicked because Pepsi was beating them in taste tests and gaining market share. And it's the same thing happening in the presidential election. 3 months ago, Obama had a 12-point lead over Mitt Romney. Today, they're statistically tied. And so they're launching a negative campaign, a negative theme for their campaign. And it's backfiring because, just like New Coke, no one likes it. The Democrats are pushing back on it. It's hurting his fundraising with people in private equity, and it's not moving his numbers. So they have to find something other than what they're doing right now.
On the other hand, Simon, this will be I'll give you the final word. Mitt Romney's come up with, believe in America.
Yeah.
Critics could argue it's a little bit like a platitude. It's not necessarily all that inspirational.
Look, I think the person who wins this election is going to be the candidate who makes it more clear where they're going to take the country, and it is going to be a choice election. I think neither campaign is where they want to be right now. The Obama campaign, I agree with Mark on something he just said, is that they're going to have to make it much more clear about what he's going to do over the next 4 years. But Mitt Romney has to begin to have that conversation. I mean, we heard very little in the Republican primaries about what Mitt Romney really wanted to do. And on the central promise...
He wants to believe in America, Simon.
Well, but on the central promise of the election, which is he's going to cut the deficits, I mean, that's just a lie. I mean, his economic plan would actually increase deficits. So he's got a long way to go to be able to articulate what it is that he's going to do to make things better. And as I said from the very beginning, I don't think the Obama campaign is panicking. I think they're winning this election right now. They're going to have to do a better job of making their positive case, and I think they will.
Simon, Mark?
Yep.
Forward.
Thanks so much, Megan.